is not ready. God is working on someone else who's part of your story. Or when that obstacle wasn't changing, you didn't realize it, but God was using the obstacle to change you. You were growing, getting stronger, developing patience. If he would have removed it sooner, you wouldn't be prepared for where he's taking you. But the scripture says, don't get weary in well-doing, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. It doesn't say you may reap. There's a good chance you'll reap. God says, if you won't get tired of doing the right thing, if you won't let what you see talk you out of what you know, then your due season is coming. You will reap if you don't faint. But God wouldn't have told us to not get weary in well-doing if he didn't know it would be easy to get tired of doing what's right. It's easy to get worn down. Think it's never going to work out. My marriage is never going to make it. My business is never going to grow. No, get your fire back. Your due season is closer than you think. In the scripture, it compares the life of a believer to an eagle. When a mother eagle is going to have a baby eagle, she lays an egg. For 35 days, she has to sit on the egg to keep it warm. She never feels the baby eagle's heat. The egg never grows any larger. There's no sign that what's on the inside of the egg is alive. Another eagle could think, if it was alive, at least it would move a little bit. At least I would hear something. But day after day, the mother eagle sits, unmoved by what she doesn't feel, unmoved by what's not changing. On the 35th day, after no signs of life, suddenly the little eaglet starts pecking out of the shell. Before long, it hatches healthy and happy. But think about the faith it takes for that mother eagle to sit on an egg that seems dead. Unlike a person, when a lady is going to have a baby, we have all these signs. Their stomach gets bigger, their feet may swell, their back may hurt, they may get meaner, they may have morning sickness. Their womb begins to grow. Over time, it's obvious. You can see the baby is developing. When Victoria was pregnant with Jonathan, we were driving down the road and I turned on some music. Just like clockwork, he started kicking in the womb, like he was keeping beat to the music. You could see a leg coming out here, an elbow coming out there. We had no doubt that he was coming. Those last 6 months, we never once thought, I wonder if he's in there. I wonder if he's alive. We didn't have to wonder, we could see it. If God brought promises to pass like a person giving birth, it would be no problem to stay in faith. It would be easy to thank him that it was on the way. But most of the time, it won't be like a person, it will be like an eagle. You're going to have to believe something is happening when you can't see any sign. You're going to have to sit on that promise, believing, expecting, praying, thanking, when you're not getting any kicks, when you're not seeing any growth, when the egg is not moving, you don't hear any sounds. Deep down, you have to know something is happening that you can't see. After a couple of weeks, the mother eagle could think, I'm wasting my time. By now, something should be happening. I don't see any sign that what's in this egg is alive. But there's something in her DNA, something put in her by the Creator that said, I don't have to see a sign. I don't have to feel a kick. I know my baby is alive. I know my due season is coming. I know on the 35th day, this baby eagle is going to happen. You may have promises that you've been standing on for a long time. Dreams God has put in your heart. Every circumstance says it's never going to happen. What you're believing for is dead. You would have kicked by now. You would have seen some improvement, some growth. No, don't believe those lies. Keep sitting on that edge. Keep thanking God that it's coming. Keep talking like it's on the way. Keep expecting things to change in your life. Our attitude should be, what God promised me may look dead, but I know, like that eagle, what he put in my spirit is still alive. It doesn't have to kick. I'm not moved by what I feel. I'm not moved by how long it's taking, by what's not working out. I know what God started in my life, he's going to finish. What am I saying? Quit being discouraged because you haven't felt the kick. Nothing is lost. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You have to trust the process. While you're waiting, things are growing. Things are developing. God is bringing it together. He works in secret. You may not see any improvement. You may not see what God is up to. If the mother eagle could peck a little hole in the shell and see her baby, it would be so much easier to believe. I saw him. He's in there. Now I can sit on this egg with confidence. The problem is the eaglet wouldn't survive. Some things have to develop in the dark, in secret. If you could see the promise coming, if God showed us what he was up to, yes, it wouldn't be as difficult to believe, but that wouldn't take any faith. You have to believe when there's no sign on the outside that what's on the inside is still alive. The promise God put in you, that egg, so to speak, is not going to move, not going to grow, not going to kick. You may not see any signs of life until the 35th day, until your due season, when suddenly that baby eagle is going to happen. There's something God has put in your DNA where you can believe when every circumstance says it's not going to happen. The odds may be against you today. Your dream seems impossible. The medical report's not improving. You've struggled with the addiction for years. Looks like the promise is dead. You're tempted to walk away from the nest, forget about the egg, hasn't seen any signs of life. And God is saying, go back and sit on it. It is still alive. Don't let the circumstances fool you. Just because you don't see anything happening on the outside doesn't mean something is not happening on the inside. Joel, I've never felt my baby kick. It's not going to kick in the air. God bursts things like an eagle, not like a person. We have to walk by faith and not by sight. The Israelites were traveling through the desert, headed toward the promised land, when they came to the city of Jericho. This was the last city that stood between them and the city of Canaan, the land God promised them. Jericho was surrounded by a huge stone wall. It was so thick that chariots could ride through top of it. God told Joshua to have the Israelites march around the wall for 7 days without saying a word. These 2 million people went out once a day, started walking around the wall. First day, nothing happened. Second day, nothing. It was hot, dusty. They were already tired, worn out from traveling through the desert. Went around the 4th day, nothing. The 5th time, nothing. And imagine, they started to get discouraged. What are we doing out here? We look like fools. Nothing has even happened. It wouldn't have been so difficult to believe if while they were walking around, they saw a little crack in the wall start to form. Maybe the 4th time around, some of the rocks up top broke apart. The next time around, the foundation began to loosen up. If they would have just seen a sign that things were improving, something to encourage them, a little crack here and there, but nothing was changing. They were sitting on that edge, doing what God asked them to do, walking around the city, not complaining. They were doing their part. Why wasn't God doing his part? God works in secret. In that egg, you can't see the eagle. The Israelites didn't like it. They were uncomfortable. But here's the key. They kept doing the right thing. They didn't get weary in well-doing. On the seventh day, the seventh time around, still no sign of the wall weakening. Still looked just as strong, sturdy, like it did before they started. But when they completed that seventh lap, suddenly the walls came tumbling down. They came into their due season, their 35th day. Too often, we'll stay in faith if we see the wall cracking. We'll believe if our boss starts treating us better, if our health starts improving. We're waiting for the baby to hit. God, give me a sign. Show me something that you're going to turn this around. What I'm saying is you may not get a sign. That's when you have to dig down deep and say, am I going to get up off this edge? Am I going to let what I'm not seeing convince me what I'm believing for is dead? It's too late. The obstacle's too big. Or am I going to do like the Israelites and keep marching even though there is no sign? Keep thanking God even though it's not improving. Keep expecting even though the baby is not kicking. You keep doing the right thing and your 35th day is coming. What you thought was dead, you didn't see any signs of life, suddenly that baby eagle is going to burst forth. A friend of mine that I grew up with was believing to have a baby for many years. She and her husband had tried and tried with no success. We were all standing in faith with her, believing and praying. No baby. She'd gone to doctors. They told her there was nothing more they could do. She wouldn't be able to have children. She's a little bit older than I am. I was in my 40s. I thought it's too late now. Surely she'll accept it, move on. Maybe she can adopt. Maybe she can do something else with children. That never entered her mind. She was always talking about having a baby. It was never if, it was always when. She even made a baby's room in her house, had it all decorated, ready for the child. She was constantly thanking God that her baby was on the way, talking like it could happen tomorrow. She could have easily walked away from it. Thought this egg doesn't just look dead, it is dead. It would have happened by now. But when God puts a promise in your heart, you have to have a never say die attitude. You may not see how it can happen. It seems too late. You're too old. The obstacle's too big. You can come up with 1,000 reasons why it's not going to work out. Don't talk yourself out of it. You, like her, keep thanking God when it's on the way. Keep believing when it's not improving. Keep sitting on that edge, not moved by what's not changing.